If you are someone like what I was, who lived in a consistent state of stress and then fell into overwhelm and dissociation really regularly, you're not able to create new patterns or start new routines, and your behaviours continually are on repeat, I'm just going to explain a little bit about the polyvagal theory to you so you can understand why we tend to do the things we do, why our bodies won't heal, why we're holding on to excess body fat, and why our self-talk goes down the drain when our autonomic nervous system is living between our stress state, our spinal sympathetic part of our nervous system, and also down into dorsal, our free state. The only place that we can make new decisions, create new behaviours, have kind, compassionate, and accepting self-talk is only from this place in our autonomic nervous system known as our ventral vagal, being socially engaged, present, and open. In this video, I want you to understand that your body is your biggest teacher, right? When we can communicate to our body, our vehicle, that the environment is safe, then that means that we then cue our autonomic nervous system, right, to respond accordingly, right? If our shoulders are up, back, and down, we have good space between our ear and the top of our shoulder, our hips are open and we are relaxed, we very much cue not only to ourselves, but to those around us that we feel safe in this environment, and you'll receive the same back to you. If we are in the same environment, yet we cue our body into tension, it looks like this. The shoulders come up around the ears. We create tension around our face, our jaw, and our eyes. You'll notice that your hips will be really tight because the psoas muscle engages and everything grips on. Not only you will feel that, but so will others around you. Inside your body, that's going to have a knock-on effect physiologically, affecting not only your fat burning process, but your digestion, of course, and also your self-talk. Let me explain. So over the next couple of minutes, I'm going to just share what has been shared to me from teachers such as Deb Dana, Stephen Porges, and Stanley Rosenberg on how we can understand the polyvagal theory of the autonomic nervous system to help understand why things show up in our body, to learn what state we move to, and of course what we can do about it, right? This is the polyvagal ladder, and in school most of us were taught a little bit about our nervous system, understanding that we have a parasympathetic state, rest and digest, and sympathetic state, being our activated and mobilized state, okay? What I didn't understand, and what I find most of my clients don't understand, is that our parasympathetic branch has actually two particular parts. If we look at our autonomic nervous system like a ladder, it's really easy to understand how we can shift between our states. I just want to talk on our parasympathetic branch for a moment, which consists of two particular states. One being our ventral vagal state. This is known as immobilized with safety. It's right here where we can be socially engaged. We feel relaxed in our body, we feel open, and it's easy here to be present, responsive, not reactive. It means we are aware we have a choice and we can respond, not react, to the things that unfold in our environment. It is only in this state that we can change neural pathways in our brain to create different behaviours. It is only in this state where our digestion works properly, we go into a fat burning state, right, where our body can actually do what it needs to do, our cells can repair here and our tissues, and our self-talk is much more based around kindness and compassionate and accepting self-talk as opposed to being judgmental or critical. The other branch of our parasympathetic nervous system comes down the ladder right to the bottom, and that's called our dorsal vagal state. This is also known as immobilized, but we're immobilized with fear. It is in this state where we can experience big traumas and we can block them out, or potentially being in an accident where you have lost the ability to fight, flight, or flee. It is our body's natural response to big ticket items to look after us so that we survive. It is a survival state that should be used just for survival. We cannot live there. and it feels numb, we feel dissociated, we want to tap out. We can experience things such as unworthiness, we can feel depressive and dark here. We kind of feel like a turtle pulling its head into a shell. It's important to understand that both of those particular states are part of the parasympathetic nervous system, but they feel and look very different. Our dorsal state will kind of look like this, everything hunched in. We might be curled on the couch, the shoulders are up, we're in full protection mode. It also looks like kids holding their phones, and also adults if you look at the shape of this, right? As opposed to our ventral state, which is open and relaxed, right? You can see the body is in a completely different position here. I look much more friendlier, or I hope so, in this state. I have good distance between my ear and my shoulder, and somatically I communicate to my body, my vehicle, that this environment is safe. Both are parts of the parasympathetic nervous system, but they experienced in the body very differently, and physiologically what unfolds is two very different things. In our survival state, in dorsal, it's important to understand that the body cannot heal here. You cannot burn body fat here. The blood pressure, heart rate, cortisol, and adrenaline goes down. The body is in complete shutdown and a complete survival state. And in this state, it is unable for us to access our prefrontal cortex to change our behaviours, our actions, and also our choices, as we are in complete survival and the body is trying to look after us in that state, right? I want to talk a little bit now about the middle of the ladder, known as our sympathetic nervous system, which you'll see over here, and that's known as our activated state. Most of us know this state really, really, really well, right? It looks like this. We're in tension, the shoulders come up around the ears. What you might notice is we've rounded in, of course, to protect our heart. And this muscle here, right, which is being our psoas muscle, I'm just going to use my friend here, part of the hip flexors, right? We know that these guys here in our hip flexors become really, really tight. You can feel your psoas muscle here. So when we are in tension, as in our activated state here, spinal sympathetic, basically what's going to happen is not only does the body close here to protect the heart from the so-called threat and tiger that's chasing you, but our psoas muscle gets really cranky and it grips on and it closes the hips. Hence, therefore, most of us, when we are in a mobilized state or a stressed state, experience tightness and pain in our lower backs and our hips because the body is closing to protect the genitals so we don't die. The hip joint is a ball and socket joint. It is never ever designed to sit in chairs like this 24/7, right? Which means what we do with our vehicle is really, really important. You'll also see that the shoulder is a brachiating joint, which means it moves around. It was never ever designed to constantly reach forward like this and hold your phone or your device. What I'm trying to say here, sorry mate, I'll just put you in a, there you go, much better position for your shoulder. What I'm trying to say here is that for many of us, if we're using phones and devices all of the time and we are sitting in chairs, we are actually training our body to be in a closed or a reactive state. The body knows what the body knows, and everything that we practice over a 24-hour period becomes what the body knows. The vehicle does not know the difference between good or bad. It has simply been trained with what we have taught it over however many years you have been on this earth. If we, as humans, are spending over 3, 4, 5, or even my teenagers up to 8 hours on their devices, they are actually, unfortunately, training their bodies to close, which means that their thoughts are going to match the physical shape of their body. They're going to find they're going to be in a lot more judgment, comparison, resentment, reactivity, and fear because the body is telling the nervous system to be in protection mode. I go into that more in my online talks and courses, but for now, I just want you to understand that the body is always listening to us. This is the polyvagal ladder that shows the autonomic nervous system. right? At the top of the ladder, we have our ventral vagal state, which I mentioned before, is the only place where things work. Let's have a think about construction workers for a moment, right? So if we think of our nervous system as a bit of a construction site, okay? Things happen, we move through stress, we move through tensions, but things need to be done. Tissues need to heal, our digestion needs to work, we need to move into our fat burning zone, right? And we also need to clear out toxicity. When we are in our ventral state, it means we're socially engaged and we are present. It means the body is doing exactly what it needs to do. All of the construction workers are at work, healing the body, helping the digestion move, helping you poop properly, and also clearing out toxicity, meaning you'll also be burning body fat. If we move into a chronic state of stress, okay, and we all know that really well. We've been overworking, we're not sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night, we're not eating good quality food, we're not moving our bodies, we're not getting out in nature, and we're constantly on the do train. We are going to shift from our ventral state down a couple of rungs into this more agitated, mobilized state of stress or chronic stress. We need stress. These whole systems are not bad. We need them for our bodies to work and to look out for real threats. But being late for work, losing your keys in your bag, your kids running late, you having a meeting with your boss, or you spilling your coffee are absolutely not life-threatening events, meaning that we do not need to shift down here just because I mentioned some of those events. We can still stay in a relaxed state even when there is a bit of discomfort, meaning that we are not sending our body into a heightened state of stress every time we hit a bump in the road. But for many of us, we get on the busy train, we keep doing all the time, and we start to fall down the ladder. We start maybe drinking a little bit at night, eating poor quality foods, our movement goes out the window, we get on our phone more and we look at more screen time. We start to feel pretty shit and we move down the ladder into what's called our spinal sympathetic state or our chronic stress state. It is in this state where unfortunately now the nervous system that has received the message that you are on. You have dropped into a fear-based state, unable to see things as they are. You move into accessing old and well-practiced neural pathways that are linked to your limbic area of your brain, not your prefrontal cortex, meaning you're unable to create new behaviors in this state. You're unable to have good, kind, compassionate, and clear quality thoughts. You are reactive, not responsive. It is very different. Again, I go into that a lot deeper in my nervous system course. If you live here, and we all know that, we know we can live here for a long time. The body gets addicted to it. We wake up, we think this is where we need to be, we think we need to be on the busy train, go, 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 I'm addicted, I love it, I love it, I love it, until one day what happens is you burn out. Our kids do the same, because our kids are watching nearly 3,000 TikToks a day and constantly on screen time and spending nearly 8 hours on their devices. That takes up a lot of space in our brains, and our kids are doing the same thing that we're doing, and you fall down the ladder further, and now it's like you have 1 bar left on your phone. You have shifted into your freeze or dissociated state. We now feel numb, emotionless, shut down, unworthy, and not enough. This state is something I used to be really familiar with when I was moving through my disordered eating, which I was there for nearly over 25 years. This is where I lived, between my stress state and my dorsal vagal. It was very rare that I was coming up here to a safe space, hence why I was unable at the time to create new thoughts about myself and create new behaviours that would move me out of the eating disorder. When I understood the polyvagal theory, I was able to do the tools and the steps to return myself back to a ventral state, to then start to create new neural pathways, which of course create new behaviours. That was a practice. I wanted to share this model with you. For one, if you have teenagers or kids that you feel might be in that dissociated or shut down state, doing behaviours and actions and having self-talk that you know isn't them. It's because they have shifted into a dissociated state and they feel numb emotionless, and doing things that are unfamiliar to them because they don't care, right? We are exactly the same. I go into a lot deeper detail of how to help ourselves come back from this state, feel what we need to feel so that we can return back to our safe state in my courses. But for now, what I want you to understand is that we cannot go from here to here. We actually need to move through the rungs of the ladder, and we need to feel to heal. Feeling and expressing our emotions is really important in this state in order to return back to our ventral state. I'm going to use a kid using a phone for an example here. Okay, so if a kid or a teenager has dropped down into their dorsal state, they are going to feel unresponsive, numb, dissociated, and emotionless. We need to get them feeling emotion, to feel angry, to feel frustrated, to move through guilt or shame and actually sit with that and feel it and express it safely through movement. That's why I do what I do. Movement helped me start to feel what I needed to feel to then help me return to a safe space in my nervous system so that I could then change my brain. If we go back to the construction workers for a moment, as I said, they're doing their thing when we are in a ventral state. They're repairing the tissue, they're burning body fat, they're looking after us, they're getting the work done. When I shift from ventral down into my spinal sympathetic, they put their tools down there on smoko. I've just told my autonomic nervous system, right, through my physical body, again, I've rounded my shoulders have come in, my hips have closed, and I have just told my body that I am not safe, okay? Meaning that all those construction workers in the body have gone on smoko, right? If I burn out, those construction workers still do not go back to work because we are now still operating in a protection mode. We are in a survival state, right? And until I communicate through my body that the environment is now safe, it is only then that those construction workers will pick up the tools and go back to work and heal the body. This is an absolute powerhouse, and it is here to protect you and look after you. Our job is never to judge it. When things show up in our body, such as bloating, such as skin breakouts, such as pain and tension and soreness, things going on with our digestion, things in our head or migraines or headaches, it is our body trying to tell us something about our autonomic nervous system. Our job is to say, thank you for showing up. How can I help you? What do you need? If you'd like to know a little bit more about your autonomic nervous system and how this can help you with burning that excess body fat, especially around the belly, helping you return back to a more calm and present state, not just for yourself, but for your family, how you can create new behaviours and new thought patterns by understanding how you can re-regulate, but also how you can change your self-talk and the way you see your body, then make sure you jump on my next online nervous system awareness course. If you are someone who has tried everything, or you're over dieting or over exercising or constantly pushing yourself and burning the candle at both ends, having an understanding of why your body is not responding to what you want it to do is an incredible tool that not only you can use for yourself, but pass down to your family. I'm only taking 10 on this first course so that I can share an intimate experience with you guys of how you can not only get to know your body from the inside out, but start to feel so much better through 3-dimensional movement. This is a program anyone can do. It is effortless and easy, and all you need to commit to is 4 weeks with me. You'll see a code that is attached with this video, and if you apply that code at the checkout, you're going to receive 25% off the course, and this course will be with you for life and something that you can share onto others. I invite you to dive into your body differently, to start to see it from a different place, to understand that the body comes first before the thoughts. And if we can start to re-cue our body to feel safe in discomfort and in things where previously your body has been reactive, we start to operate much more in this ventral space. You'll shift in and out of these states, but what you'll realize and recognize is that you'll be able to return back to here much quicker, allowing your body to heal, allowing it to move through the fat burning process, and more importantly, allowing you to access more present, kinder and compassionate thoughts about your body, yourself, and move towards more creative ideas and your intention moving forward. I look forward to working with you, and any questions, don't be afraid to shoot me a DM.